morning and welcome to everyone. Today, as usual, I'd like you to just have fun in class. So allow your body to move and flow with whatever you feel like. Let's begin. So we're going to start off with just normal breathing. You're paying attention to the air as it comes into your body and out. So you're just bringing your awareness inside. You can place your hands on your knees or have them relaxed in your lap. Lengthen up nicely, shoulders into their sockets, lifting in the belly. Just in and out of the nose today. And now we're going to move into our Nadi Sudhana alternate nostril breathing. So use your thumb to block your one nostril, your ring finger to block the other one. You can either have your pointy finger and middle finger resting on your forehead or curl them in. Go beep, 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 beep. Okay, so we're going to start off with blocking our left nostril. Wait, is that right? No. Blocking the right nostril, inhaling through the left. Inhale, hold it for a few seconds, and then exhale through the right. Then inhale through the right, hold it for a few seconds, and exhale through the left. And keep following that same pattern. And near the end, when I say do your last round, make sure that you remember that the left nostril has to have the last exhalation that equals them out. Let's begin. Block the right nostril. Inhale through the left, hold, block the left, open the right, exhale, inhale through the right, hold, exhale through the left, and continue at your own pace. And finish up your last round, making sure your last exhale is on your left nostril, through your left nostril. Allow your breathing to just return to normal through both nostrils. And we're going to start off with a bit of arm and neck stretching. I personally prefer to sit on my shins, so you can follow me or you can stay in easy seat, whichever is more comfortable, because we're focusing up on the upper body anyway. Okay, make sure that your hips stay tucked under and you're lifting in your belly, keeping your core nice and strong. We're going to start off with the neck. So we imagine that there's a tennis ball under the side that we're going towards. So we're going to take our right hand, grabbing the left side of our head. We lift up and over that tennis ball, keeping the shoulder down and pulling the head towards that shoulder, getting a stretch down the side of the neck into the shoulder a little bit. Remember to pay attention to your breathing. Try and stay in awareness of your breath. Start turning your chin towards the roof. And now the stretch comes a little bit more forward, more into the jugular space. Keep lifting up over that tennis ball. Don't let your head drop down towards your shoulder. Slowly start turning your head towards your armpit. You're pulling your head down towards the armpit, lifting over that tennis ball so the chin's not dropping down to the chest, but lifting up and over. Keep pulling the head down towards the armpit. Now take your left hand, lift it up towards the ceiling and bend at the elbow, sending your hand back between your shoulder blades. This gets us into a trapezius stretch, which is really lovely. The traps tend to be an interesting space, let's call them. Remember to keep breathing. And gently release the head and the arms. Before we go to the other side, we're going to start doing a very slow iterative movement from one shoulder to the other. So you want to go as slow as you can, not being so slow that you're barely moving, but a very slow and steady movement over to the left shoulder. Turn as far as you can without going into pain or strain. And then start slowly, slowly, slowly moving over to the right shoulder. As far as you can without pain or strain, and we go back over to the left. And back over to the right. It's just allowing our nervous system to catch up with us from all the fast and running off movements we make. Come back to your neutral position once you've reached your right shoulder. And now we're going to go and take our left hand, grab the right side of our head, lift up and over our tennis ball and pull the head towards that shoulder, making sure that you keep your left shoulder down. Start turning your chin towards the ceiling. Release gently and start turning your chin towards your armpit. Pull your head down towards your armpit. Remember our tennis ball, so the chin isn't on the chest, it's lifting up over that tennis ball, being pulled to the armpit. Now take your right arm, lift it up towards the ceiling, bend at the elbow, taking your hand down between your shoulder blades. This is getting into the traps again. And gently release. Roll your shoulders backwards. Roll them forwards. And let's take our arms stretching in front of us. So imagine someone is pulling your left arm away from you. It's being pulled long, so even your scapula extends. Then we're going to pull it, making sure our shoulders stay down, across our bodies, grabbing it with our right wrist and pulling it towards us, but making sure there's tension between the wrist and the forearm. So it's not that you're completely slacking, you're pushing your arm against your right arm, left arm against the right arm. And that creates a nice bit of tension to stretch your left shoulder as well as your right scap sort of area, going into rhomboids and whatnot. Remember to be cognizant of your breath. Release, and let's take the left arm up and bend at the elbow behind us. If you're able to, take your right hand and grab the left arm and pull it down. So you're creating tension, so both arms are getting stretched in this position. If you're unable to reach hands, then rather come back over, grab your elbow and pull it back. So it's getting a nice stretch in your left arm. Try and go a little bit deeper. And gently release. Your right arm is now pulled in front of you, extending long. Grab it with your left wrist and pull it across your body, keeping this right shoulder down. Create tension between the wrist and the forearm. release, and take your right arm up to the ceiling and then bend at the elbow behind you. If you're able, you take your left hand and grab hands and pull them. So the left hand is being pulled up, the right arm is being pulled down. If you're unable to, you grab your elbow and you send it back. Slowly release. And you're staying on your shins for a little bit longer. I'm just turning sideways so you can watch. We're wanting to open up the chest muscles. So we're placing our hands behind us with our fingers facing our bum. Instead of lifting our hips and pushing the hips forward, although our hips are staying tucked under and lifted in the belly, we're pushing down in our arms, lifting our chest up towards the ceiling. Keep lifting in the belly and pushing down in the arms. You don't be slouching backwards. Push down into the earth. Take a moment to relax forward. And again, engage, pushing down in the arms, lifting the sternum towards the ceiling. And come back up. I'm moving a little bit back on my mat, just in terms of space. So we're going to come forward and stretch out our arms. We're aiming to end in our cat pose, but we're doing it iteratively to get there. So we're coming up onto our hands and knees, lift the belly, tuck the hips under, let the bum drop a little bit backwards. And we're going to start walking our hands forward and think about dropping the chest down towards the floor, keeping your belly lifted, and you drop down. Walk the hands a little bit more forward. Now we're going to start lifting the feet off the floor, actively squeezing the feet towards the bum. Keep the hips tucked under and lifting in the belly. Look between your hands so that your face is a little bit up. Walk a little bit more forward. And you keep going until the sternum is on the floor, if you're able. If not, you go to your max point and you hold it there. Push down in your hands and your elbows and lean forward, keeping the feet towards your bum. And you're doing a little bit of a sphinx pose, pushing down in the arms, lifting in the armpits, squeezing your bum, pulling those feet towards your bum. Relax down. Bring your hands under your elbows, under your shoulders. Make sure you're lifting in the belly. So it's your tummy that lifts up as we push up, keeping the feet towards your bum. Push up. Lean back forward, bending the elbows, keeping these elbows close to your body. Don't go all the way back down. Push back up again. Keep the elbows close to the body. Push back up again. Keep the elbows close as you drop down. And push back up again. Push all the way over so you're back on your shins and you're resting in child's pose. Even in this rest, feel like your arms are being pulled long, so even if you want to crawl your fingers a little bit further away, these shoulders are integrated into their sockets and feel like they're being pulled as you lie in your child's pose. slowly we come up to standing. So you can come and stand at the front of your mat. Whew. Remember, we want to feel very solid in our legs, like we're grounding down. So the knuckles of the feet, the outsides of the feet, and the heels of the feet are feeling solid and pushed into the ground while we lift in the arches. Then we make sure our knees feel like they're turning slightly outwards, so it's activating the bum, push the hips forward, lift in the belly, shoulders into their sockets, and then let's take our hands up to the ceiling, pulling long, 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 and slowly we'll swan dive down into our forward fold. Remember to suck your belly. You keep on wanting to create space across here, so you keep on sucking it back, sucking it back, sucking it back. Just hang for a moment. Bend your knees and place your hands on the floor and take your right leg backwards into our lunge position. Remember, we're pushing down at this front leg, so this isn't a slouching down. Push down in that front leg, lift in the belly, use the back bum muscle to squeeze and turn that hip into its socket nicely. Then try and drop down, keeping these legs strong. Drop the knee to the floor, keeping this back bum muscle working. We're pushing our hips forward, trying to get our right hip flexor towards the floor. Keep the tummy lifted, keep the hips tucked under. Lift back into that lunge. Make sure you're feeling very solid in these legs, pushing down, squeezing the back bum muscle, lifting in the belly as we sweep our hands up. Feel like they're being pulled long towards the ceiling. Then we're going to move our back foot, our right foot, into a 45-degree angle and open up to our warrior one, making sure that these hips are tucked under. Now turn your left foot inwards and your right foot out as we drop down onto the floor. Pull that knee close into under your armpit. I know this was an ill side to do first, but work with me. Pulling your knee in towards your armpit. Then we're going to push ourselves back up, crawl that foot away from you a little bit more so that we can get deep into this stretch. So now you're feeling it in the inner thighs. Lean forward. Push yourselves up, keeping your knees bent. I'm going to turn around, guys. Wait, there. Okay, so keep the knees bent. Suck the belly in and drop down, holding your elbows, and just hang for a moment. Make sure feet are parallel and they're not going out at a 45-degree angle. Straighten the legs and hang for a moment. Remember to keep sucking the belly, and now we're going to pull our body towards our left leg. Grab your ankles and pull, so we're getting a deeper hammy stretch on the left leg. Think about sternum towards leg or shin again. And slowly move across to the right leg, pulling your sternum towards your shin. Remember to keep your quad muscles lifted. They're not relaxing there, but pulling slightly back. Come back to your centered point. Grab your ankles and pull your sternum towards the floor. Let's go over to the left leg again. Over to the right. back to the center and pull a little bit deeper. And now we're going to go over to the other side, which now I can't remember which side I was on in the first place because I wiggled. But you know, you do your other leg now. Did I do this leg? I think I did this leg. Okay, so there we go. Yes. So now our right leg is bent, ideally. Stretch out, feeling the stretch here in your inner thigh. Drop back down so your bum flops onto the floor, pushing this knee close into your armpit. We're going to come up, back onto our feet, making sure that the back foot is going back into that 45-degree angle. The front foot is facing forward as we come back into our warrior 2. Make sure that you just readjust your spacing because we've played around with the legs a bit. And these hips are tucking under, not arched, but lifting. Turn the back foot back onto the toes as we come back into our warrior 1. Lifting in the belly, extending the arms forward. Place your hands on the floor again. Again, if you need to adjust the spacing because we played around, just do so. And we're going to come back with the left leg onto the floor. Make sure you're squeezing this back bum muscle and pushing the hips towards the left hip flexor towards the floor. Lift that back leg. So now we're in the lunge position, keeping our legs lifted and active, but pushing the hip flexor towards the floor. Lift in the belly a little bit extra as you bring that left leg to join the right foot in the front. Hang in your forward fold, grab your ankles, pulling your sternum towards your shins. And up we come, extending our arms long towards the ceiling. And back into our prayer position. Well done, guys. I hope you're all coping. Nobody's suffering too much. All right. So this time we're going to do a different sequence. Get ready. So we're planting and rooting our feet down into the ground. Knees are turning out slightly, getting the bum active. Belly is active, lifting, shoulders into their sockets. Arms being extended long. We swan dive down towards the floor. Bend your knees and let's extend the left leg back this time. Then follow it with the right leg. Push into your downward facing dog. Walk out your dog. Really feel the nice stretch happening in the calf muscles. Feel like you need to take a small step forward just to help with the arms getting into a nice rotated into their socket position. Do so. My legs are super long, so I always have to readjust my downward facing dog. And from here I want you to bend the knees. Feel like you're sucking your belly back even more. The sternum lifts even more, pushing into the arms. And bounce. Imagine a cool song on. Bounce your bum. And now straighten the legs again. Bounce. Keep sucking the belly. And down we come onto our hands and knees. Readjust your hands if you need to, making sure that they're in line with your elbows and your shoulders. You're lifting the armpits. They stay lifted as we do our cat-cow. So our cat, goes up into this curved position, pushing down in the arms, pushing down in the bum. So my bum muscles are active. They're not just chilling there and squeezing, pushing my hips forward. Then our cow position drops down. We keep lifting in the belly and the armpits are staying lifted, but our hips move into a bit of an arch. But this tummy is still active. And up into our cat. Meow, squeeze the bum. And into our cow. Keep the belly lifted, keep the armpits lifted. And tuck under into your cat, squeezing the bum, lifting the belly. And back into our cow, arching up, keeping the belly strong. And come into a neutral tabletop position. So our first leg, let's start with the right leg, is going to extend straight out behind us, our toes on the floor. You're going to need to feel your balance with your arms. You may need to push harder into your opposite arm or the same arm. Feel it for yourself. But try not to drop the hips to compensate as you move your legs. We're trying to stay stable, so the hips are tucked under, lifting in the belly, lifting in the arms. We squeeze the bum to lift the leg up, cross it behind us, and touch the floor. Lift up, bring it back to where it was. Up, behind us, behind the other foot really, up, and straight behind us again. Lift up, to the side, lift up, behind us. Lift up, to the side, lift up, behind us. Now, from that position, we're going to whirl on our left knee and turning it out. So it's now sort of a, well, just follow what my body's doing. Then the other foot is going to turn sideways as we push our hips forward. Still lifting in the armpit. Imagine you've got a ball, or there's lava here. It's hot. You're lifting up away from it. Lifting up. That helps us get into our transverse muscles. Other hand comes up. Feel like it's being pulled long. Pull, 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 pull. And then that bottom leg is getting lifted up and down. Up and down. Up and down. And just hold that position for a second, because I should have faced you again, because otherwise I'm going to kick the wall. Oh, okay, so we were here. Okay. Oh, sorry, this was the wrong top to wear today. Okay, tuck your hips forward. Now we've just gone up and down. Now we're going to go up, forward, back and down. Up, forward, back and down. You can see my bum drops a little bit to allow that movement, especially if you've got a bit of stiffness in the hips. Up, forward, back and down. Just those three. Now we're going to take our right hand to grab our ankle and then push it behind us. So the chest is pushing forward, the hips are pushing forward, this ankle is pushing into the hand. And gently release and come back onto all fours. Suspecting I'm going to have to turn around again. Alrighty, now we go over to the left leg. So keep pushing down in the arms, lifting in the armpits. Left leg gets extended behind us. Remember, these hips are tucked under, they're lifted, pushing down. Left leg lifts, goes behind the other leg and down. Up and back behind us. Up to the side, up and behind us. Keep lifting in the belly, up to the side, up behind us, up to the side, up behind us. From here, we're taking, oh yes, I've gone blank. Okay, so we're twisting on our right knee so that that knee goes behind the bum, and we're twisting to push the hips forward. So now we're in our side position. Whew, okay. Left arm comes up and stretches long. Remember, there's lava down here, so you're lifting in the lower body, or the side that's closer to the floor. Lift up long, feel a stretch happening, and then lift that bottom leg up and down. Up and down, up and down. Let your left hand come straight up from your shoulder socket as opposed to over your head. Lift that leg, bring it forward and send it back and down. Lift, forward, back and down. Lift, forward, back and down. And you can bring your hands back together in front of you. Drop into your child's pose and rest for a short moment. Remember to take nice deep breaths, oxygenating your body. Come back up onto your hands and knees, placing your hands a little bit further away from underneath your shoulders. Readjust your knees as well if you need to as we tuck our toes and lift into our downward facing dog. Remember, these shoulders are into their sockets, rotated inwards. Lift in the belly. Now we're going to come up and over onto the hands and then backwards into your downward facing dog again. Back over onto your hands and then back into downward facing dog. Onto the hands, back into your downward facing dog. And this time it's going to be a little bit more challenging. We come up over the hands and we start bending the arms and push back up. Just a slight bend. Bending the arms, push back up. Last one, bending the arms, push back up into downward facing dog. Walk out your dog, stretching out the calves again. And we're going to take our left leg forward, I think it was. Left leg forward into our lunge position. Right leg comes together, hang in your forward fold. We're not going to come all the way back up to standing, but rather hop down onto your knees. Whew. Okay, hope everyone's keeping up with me. Okay, so what I wanted to work on is a bit of our arm strength. So, in case you hadn't felt it already, we're going to work a little bit on our Vinyasa. I don't think I'm going to take us into tripod headstand today, but we're going to work on getting these arms in a nice position. Often what happens with some people with their Vinyasa is the elbows end up going out sideways, and this is actually where you lose strength, and then it's a lot of work, a lot of strain trying to keep your body up. So our first step is not to lift our feet off the floor, but rather we're focusing on feeling that shift of weight onto the hands. Shift of weight onto the hands. So remember, these elbows want to stay tucked in towards your body. They want to stay in line with your shoulders, with your wrists. They don't pop out while these guys stay. You want all three joints staying in alignment. Okay, so we're going to come up onto our toesies. Place your hands on the floor. Lift your knees into the armpit kind of space. It's fine if they only come like mid-arm, because like I said, we're not going to go into Vinyasa. We're working on the strength of Vinyasa. So you're lifting up and you're just leaning over into your hands. So your feet are still on the floor. You're making sure that these elbows are in line with the wrists and the shoulders. And you're just feeling the weight. Come back onto your toes. Lift back over onto the elbows. Keep the belly lifted. Feel the sternum, even my sternum. I'm not chilling here. I'm lifting in my chest. Come back up onto your toesies. And lift up over onto the hands again. And come back over. Now, if you want to play a little bit, I know some of you already have the Vinyasa down, I think, but let's play with this a little bit more. So you can come over and try lifting one foot, putting it back down, lift the other foot. Just play with getting the wrists strengthened and used to this kind of movement. You can see how free my neck is. My shoulders haven't come up right next to my ears when I'm doing this. My shoulders are pulled down, my neck is nice and long. Ooh, take a short break. Let's come into our yogic squat. Push your arms through if you're able. It's fine if you're sitting over here. Push your elbows against your knees, and you're still going to get a nice feeling happening throughout your body. I hope you enjoyed that practicing towards Bakasana. Maybe we'll actually go into Bakasana Thursday evening. We'll see. All right. In fact, if everyone could leave me a note, that would help. Do you want to practice more Bakasana? Yay or nay? Okay, so now we're going to start stretching out and start cooling down before we do our meditation. So let's send our legs out to the side in our V-leg position. Remember, we want to feel like these legs are pushing down, but it's that centered point between working and not working. So it's not that you're so hard, and it's not that you're completely slack, that nothing's happening in these legs. You're getting into that centered point, making sure the feet are parallel with your knees and not tilting inwards. Lift in the belly and lean as far forward as you can. You imagine that you're trying to push something away from you. Imagine walls there. You're pushing a wall, or maybe you've got a buddy. You're pushing your buddy's feet away from you. The more you breathe, the more you trick your body into relaxing. So try and stay cognizant of your breath. Try and lean a little bit deeper. And now we're going to start going over to the left side. So I like to use my left arm, push it against my inner thigh, which helps me lift my sternum outwards so it's not facing the floor. So I push, lift outwards, then my right hand comes up and over, going towards that foot. It's fine if you can't reach that foot just yet. Just feel the stretch going up the side of the body. If you can reach that foot, grab your big toe and lean into it. Remember to keep tucking the hips under. Keep breathing. And slowly swoop forward to swap to the other side. Now we take the right arm, pushing against that thigh, lifting the chest outwards. Left hand comes up and reaches towards that foot. Again, you can stay here just reaching, not actually grabbing your toes, but if you can grab your toes, grab them and keep the sternum twisting forward. Try not to let strain come into the neck. and gently come up so that we can now turn our bodies to try and face the right leg. So it's not that it will properly move, but you're allowing your hips to rotate gently so that we're bringing our sternum towards our shin as opposed to facing outwards. So you can grab your foot or your ankle or your calf, whichever one you can do best, lift in the belly, tuck the hips under and reach. Again, this is getting into our hammies. Slowly come over to the left side. Remember to keep tucking the hips, lifting, turn towards that left leg, and then reach for your foot, your ankle, your calves. Slowly come up. Okay, so we're going to bring our feet as close to your forksy bonnet as you can get for an interesting kind of stretch, let's call it. So some people find it the most challenging when your ankles are close to your forksy bonnet. Some people, like me, find this a more challenging stretch as our legs move forward because it keeps moving slightly into the bum and sort of hip muscles. So just pay attention to where your challenges are, maybe give a little bit of extra time to them, and again try and remember to breathe and relax through the poses because it'll help you just drop into them and stretch a little bit deeper. Right, so initially we just interlace our fingers around our toesies, squeeze the bum to pull the knees towards the floor and pull your sternum forward. Try and pull a little bit deeper. And slowly come up. And now move your feet a little bit further away. So you still have this diamond happening, but it's a little bit of a bigger diamond. Just a little bit because we're going to iteratively open our legs more and more and more. Okay, again, tuck your hips under, squeeze the bum to pull the knees down towards the floor, and then start pulling your sternum towards your toes. And just feel how it changes for you. Again, some people find these beginner parts more challenging, others this is easy, it's not really anything to them. This is still relaxed for me. As we spread our legs wide, I'm like, oh, Try and pull your sternum a little bit closer to your feet. And gently come up and you move your feet further away. So we're creating a larger diamond here. Tuck your hips under. We're not going to squeeze the bum. This is when it starts getting a little bit more challenging. But you are trying to keep the knees towards the ground. tuck the hips under and start leaning towards your feet. Ooh, different bum muscles getting stretched out here. So just go as deep as you can. Remember, we want sternum towards our feet, not our head. Oh, gently, gently, slowly, slowly. Come up. Send them a little bit straighter. Oh, so now our diamond's starting to look like a elongated diamond. Tuck the hips under. So what helps me, but my hip area is a little bit, but it helps me to sort of squeeze my bum slightly as I lean forward, and then it sort of settles the movement. So you can try that if it helps you. Otherwise, you just come forward and lean towards your toes. You can see this is getting challenging for me now. Oh. Remember to keep breathing, keep paying attention to the breath. Come, you stretch your legs out even more, trying to keep the feet together. Tuck the hips under and lean forward as far as you can go. Literally, if you can lean down to get to your feet, you can do so. This is just me getting into more challenging stretches here. Ooh. Slowly come back up. I'm just turning so that I'm on my mat now, straightening out my legs. And we lift our arms up, being pulled long, tucking the hips, squeezing the legs straight into your forward fold. You grab your toes, your ankles, your calves, whatever you can. Suck the belly backwards. And imagine that sternum being pulled towards your ankles. Well done, guys. Made it through class. You can grab some warm clothes on, reaching for my top again, and get ready for relaxation, meditation. Get warm, get cozy. You can hop onto your couch. You can sit up nicely on your mat, whatever feels good. Okay, when you're ready, Let's take a deep, deep, deep breath in through the nose, out through the mouth. Each exhalation, imagine your body just releasing any tension. Deep breath in through the nose, out through the mouth. Another one, deep, deep, deep breath in, out through the mouth. Allow your breathing to return to its normal, steady rhythm. And just be aware of the chest moving up and down. The feeling of the belly as it moves up and down, pushing the air in and out. Today we're just going to take time to come into awareness of every little part of our body. So leaving the breath to continue its steady in and out. Take your awareness down into your big toes and just pay attention to how they're feeling. Could be cold, could be a little bit strained, stretched. Whatever is happening in your big toes, you're just paying attention to it. Allow your awareness to expand to the toes next to the big toe. Being aware of that toe. Expand your awareness to the middle toe. The next toe. And your baby toe. Just be aware of each of your toes. Expand your awareness to the bottom of your feet, those knuckles, the side, the heel, the arches. And expand your awareness to the tops of the feet, wrapping into the ankles, move up the shins, taking in the calves. Your awareness now encompasses your feet, your ankle, and your lower legs. And we move that awareness up into your knees. Just pay attention to what your body is telling you, what your body is feeling. Up the quad muscles, wrapping around the hammies. Just feeling what your body is feeling. Come to awareness of your bum muscles, into the hips, the pelvis area. Just paying your body attention. We move up into the belly and the lower back. Again, just pay attention to how your body is feeling. No need to fix anything, no need to change it. We're just paying attention. Move up to the middle back, around to the diaphragm and the bottom of the ribs. Move up, wrapping around the chest and the shoulder blades, just being aware, paying your body attention. Come into awareness of your shoulders and the upper arms. Pay attention to your elbows and around your forearms. Notice your wrists, the palms of your fingers, your thumbs, your pointy fingers, middle fingers, ring fingers, and pinky fingers. Just bringing your awareness into your hands. Bring your awareness into your neck, front and back. The awareness moves up the back of your head, up and over onto your forehead. Bring your awareness into your eyebrows, your eyes, down your jawbones, your tongue, your chin, your nose. Allow awareness to fill your whole head, touching your ears, and now allow yourself to just be aware of your entire body. You've just spent time touching on each area. Now I'd like you to go back to the areas where you felt you might be holding on to tension or dis-ease. Anywhere that might have felt dark or uncomfortable to you. And let's just take in our breath into that area, imagining that with every inhalation we're pulling beautiful energy into that space, and each exhalation pulls out any tension, discomfort, any darkness. Just breathe in and out into that space. Allow yourself to tend to the other areas where you felt were sore or dark. Just keep taking breath into those areas. start bringing our awareness back into the present moment, to the right now. Take a deep breath in and slowly exhale through your mouth. Deep breath in and exhale through your mouth. And our last deep breath in. Allow your body to start wiggling. Fingers, toes, thumb, upper body, lower body. And then give it a long stretch. And then when you're ready, you can come up to sitting, and if you like, you can join me in one Om. Hands can be on your knees. You can bring your hands into your heart space. We take a deep breath in. My voice broke there. Yay. Thank you, everyone. I hope you had a lovely time. I hope you have a fantastic day. Thank you for joining me.